All right, this is the watch list for Thursday, April 6th, showing you the SPY here. Gapped up a little bit this morning, took off, and kind of had a nasty reversal. Don't know if it was in relation to the FOMC minutes coming out, but, you know, it started off kind of a slow grind lower and then really took off. So there it is on 60s. Certainly worth noting, right, that we had some weakness today. Overall, on the bigger picture, bigger scheme of things, we're still hanging out pretty close to all-time highs. No reason to panic. We're just going to go ahead and build our watch list like we always do. SCON, nice relative strength. This had the pop up here, went right back into the base, and then broke out again today. If you look over today's high, which would be 147, you might come up and retest these highs. You kind of have a little bit of a flag pattern forming there. I definitely want to watch that one tomorrow. Pretty sure it's a lower float stock. As I'm babbling, I'm going to bring it up on finviz.com. It says 4.3 million. NXTD, you know, it's coming. You got nice support down in this area, and you had kind of a, for this stock, high volume pop. I don't know, 7-8 sessions ago, and then a nice one again today. So you go to 60-minute candles, and I mean, that looks good over 210, right? Over the 210 area. Check the float on this one. 4.2 million. You know, one thing I like to look for in a stock is, has it shown in the recent past that it can really move? And you don't. You see a reverse split here. You don't really have any big moves. You had one here, and if you go back, you had a huge move back here, but it's been a long time. I like recent high relative volume stocks, which is getting off track here. Is why I played BNTC the other day, yesterday at 365, right? Because before, when it gapped up, you know, the daily chart had these huge moves, and they were in the recent past. So that really caught my attention, and that's why we were able to catch this one at 365 that day for a huge move. Back to NXTD, you don't really have that. So, you know, I like to give these every morning when I go over stocks for the in the pre-market for the chat room. I kind of give these little caveats. I look at the chart and kind of give you what I see, and I always remind people, hey, no matter what I say, I'm wrong a lot. So, but you know, try to give little hints at least at what I'm seeing, and hopefully can give a hint as to how much I like it, right? So having said that, I don't love this one, but it doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. NYMX, nice pop today, and you know, certainly interesting. I mean, it's had a lot of trouble with 4 back here, ripped through it here, but then pierced it back below, went up, touched it, pierced it back below. But you know, you're getting kind of higher lows, and it feels like it's building. So this is kind of interesting. I like it. If it takes out today's high at 409, it might take out what you'd think it would take out this 410 high. And you look to the left, there's really not a lot in the way. So this one is fairly interesting to me. That's NYMX. It says 29 million in the float. CYCC. This one's scary, right? Made a huge move, and then the Adam F guy just destroyed this day on an intraday basis, and it's still selling. I don't like this one very much, but and I'd like to see like another big red day. Then I think it's a good candidate for a potential bounce, but I'm going to go ahead and watch it tomorrow. And again, not in love with it. NEOS, nice pop in this one today. Decent relative volume for the stock, and kind of took out and closed above these highs from early March or mid-March. So we might have a continuation day tomorrow. We'll see. NVCN had a big pop, secondary pop, right back down into support. A little gap there that sold off, kind of flagged, and then today showing a little bit of extra strength on a little bit of extra volume. So maybe a continuation there tomorrow. Certainly relative strength to the market, right? APOP, I don't really like this one because it doesn't trade with much volume and it's spready. You can kind of see whenever you have intraday candles that have gaps between them, you know you've got a thin stock. The only reason it's interesting is, well, because it made this, let's go up to the daily, made this huge move here, right? After gapping up, it went from a low of 855 to 1350. So you got to respect that and you know, and consider this a potential big popper, and it had one back here too. And the fact that the market was so weak at the close and this thing closed pretty strong, this might have something brewing. But again, it's been trading terribly. I haven't had a trade in it since I've had it on watch the last few days. But it still doesn't cost me anything to have it on chart. BNTC, you had this really huge intraday move. Just talked about that when we had a great trade in it yesterday. And then today has almost filled the gap. Now, I don't like this very much because I've said that for about every stock, haven't I? I don't like this one very much because anyone who's still holding on from yesterday, and believe me, I guarantee you there's plenty of people, they're all underwater now. So while this might, people see, say BNTC trades in a narrow range for a while and then lights up the new high of day ticker all of a sudden on an opening range breakout or something, people, you might get a little short covering. You might get people seeing BNTC gracing the new high of day ticker and try to pile in too. But you've got a lot of overhead resistance. So that makes me like this a lot less. You could kind of make the same argument for DFFN. Huge move back here, then a gap up, and then 2 days over. But it is at support, so DFFN goes on watch as well. Also don't love that one. AAOI, this thing was $60, about a week ago? Maybe a week and a half ago. And it's just grinding lower, and then you got a big day on big volume. Looking for a possible snapback bounce in that one tomorrow. Not bullish on the overall chart, but ahead of itself to the downside. Just for some perspective, over the last 3 sessions, this has fallen from basically $58 down to a low today of 44.5. That's, what, $14 and change? That or close to $14. That's significant. So I'm going to put it on watch for a potential bounce tomorrow. And then kind of the same thing with PLSE, which was $36 a couple weeks ago, and now is all the way down. It's been cut in half from there. It's in the 17s. So I think that one is also worth watching for a bounce. As you can tell, I'm not in love with this list. I'm hoping to catch a beautiful gap and go play tomorrow. We'll build that list in the pre-market, and I'll post that in the chat room, and be on the mic at 9:15 talking about the potential gappers as well. And I'll be on the mic once the market opens if there's any gappers that I'm going to call. All right, so that's the entire list. Be careful tomorrow. A little bit of weakness today. I'm not panicking over it, but I also didn't find much, as you can see, on this watch list that I'm in love with. So again, hoping for a nice gapper tomorrow. All right, have a good night. See everybody tomorrow.